Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then her child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Yeah, I have a bunch of musings, and I don't know. Sometimes I'm not sure whether to muse before the meditation or after. In between in every interim period between sessions, I'm at some point I'll be I know exactly what I want to work on. And sometimes I'll tell you, I know exactly what I want to work on, but there's just there's so much going on and happening, and so many things also that remain sort of from other sessions.
Yes.
That I eventually, but right before coming into the session, I'm always there's 72 things that feel important. One thing that I want to, and as I was musing as to how to ask about this, I may have arrived at that I think it is as it should be, but in regards to the baby part that we worked with not long ago, it was maybe one or two sessions ago. Maybe it was the last one. I can't remember.
I believe it was the last one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a part that has been questioning in here, whether that was incomplete because the place that baby part ended up being after I connected with her, it feels like the place that she wants to be is still. It's a place where the feelings, the exile-y feelings that protectors were trying to avoid having activated. It's the place that she chose to be is also a place where that is being avoided. Does that make sense? Because she wanted to be in a quiet place that is soothing and being rocked and held, and the things that it's protectors were trying to shoo me away from in her was this overwhelm and this feeling of the external world being too much. And I don't know, there was a part of me that was questioning where she landed and whether there was some kind of incompleteness about that. But I don't really feel like there is. I don't think.
Okay.
And then sorry, go ahead.
Well, we can spend as much time as you like listening to the part that the part that thinks there might be, or checking in on the baby.
And then there was the other piece of it that when I got all like on my, mission thing about working with a self-like part. And I remember mentioning to you, like, that I felt like there was a self-like part hanging out with that baby part when I wasn't actively checking in. Like,
yes,
I would seek to connect with her.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'd be like, okay, here I am. And then I'd realize, oh no, I'm looking at myself looking over this baby part.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, I want to, I was very intrigued by the notion of like actually having a conversation with a self-like part instead of just constantly trying to,
right,
get it out of the way or whatnot.
Yeah. And just so I'm clear, we were kind of talking about, or you were bringing up, that self-like parts are often just dismissed. It seems like, compared to other protectors that get to tell their story, often the self-like part seems to be perceived and labeled as just in the way, right?
Yeah. Oh, and I felt myself when I would find it there, and it wasn't like I was directing it at the part itself and saying, you are a problem, but it was like, oh no, oh no, this isn't how it's supposed to be. And then there were some times where I'd realize that I was having that feeling, and I would, kind of turn to the part as it's sitting there in this rocking chair, like taking care of this baby. And I would instead thank it, like, oh, thank you, for looking after her.
Mm-hmm.
And then it felt like there was a lot more ease in, I don't want to say taking over, because that sounds, but like in having her just hand it over to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, as like giving the acknowledgement of, oh, like, this is nice what you're doing here. Like, it's a value. But yeah, I'm just blah, blah, blahing now. I'm realizing I
appreciate your musings. Okay. So you did do some of that with a self-like part. You did do the thanks, and it did seem like
I would just show up and say like, hey, thanks. Do you mind if I hang out with her for a little while? And it would, gladly turn over the chair,
Mm-hmm.
But it made me think, like, that's what made me think, oh, there's so often in a session, whether I'm listening to it or I'm, the person in the session, it's like, oh no, it's a self-like part,
Mm-hmm.
this is a hurdle that we need to jump over to get to know these parts that we're actually interested in. And it just made me think like, well, like, I really have found that there's never been a part that I spent time with where I was like, well, where it was any less interesting than any other,
Right. It's never been a waste of time to get to know a part.
So I got on a little soapbox for a moment about like, people should get to know self-like parts, or caregiver parts and stuff like that. Because I feel like the caregiver parts don't ever get like much play either. It's just like, oh, it's a caregiving part. Tell it that it's okay and to go on its way or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just blah, blah, blahing, like I said. And do you have any thoughts about that in regards to the baby part still preferring to be in a place where it's like very protected?
My thoughts would be questions for your parts that have questions about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I don't think that's going to be like a big ongoing, session taking upping piece of work, but I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe I'm wrong. Anytime I think I know what's going to happen or what isn't going to happen or what's going to lead somewhere, I'm always wrong. So
Yeah.
I'd like to check in on that once we've done the meditation, but I have some other things that feel pressing too.
Okay.
So as usual, here I am and I'm a lot, and let's meditate.
And it's wonderful.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. A minute, right. 2 minutes.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Okay. I'll set a timer.
Thank you.
Okay. So okay. I've made note of what you've already shared with me. Do you want to continue with whatever else is up for you?
Like tell you the rest of what's up for me?
Yeah.
Touch me. Sure. Well, in that session that preceded the baby, where we worked with the defiant part that was angry at my mom, and I've shared with you, I've done like some more work with her, and things feel good there. But in that session, the place where she was like guarding over some other parts, there were, you may or may not recall, there were 4 doors there. And I was quite sure that one of them, the one of the rooms had a baby in it, because I heard a baby crying. And then there were 2 doors that I had no clue who was in there. And then there was this other creature. There was one of the doors that had a window, and I could look in, and it was this strange. I won't try too hard to describe this creature, but it was like a little black, like a dirty looking sort of cartoon creature that was in there.
Okay.
And I'm not necessarily zeroed in on that. It's just like, I know there were 3 other pieces to what she was guarding. So I just like don't want to lose that thread. I don't know that it's where I need to go today. And then there's a part separate from that's coming up a lot lately, because one of my close friends has been diagnosed with breast cancer, and it's the 3rd close friend of mine, the close female friend who has had some kind of like lady parts related cancers. And it brings up all kinds of stuff, but a lot of what it brings up is like this extreme anger about a lot of the circumstances of like our healthcare system, and how it makes things way harder on people that like they're already going through the hardest thing ever. And then there's just all this bullshit layered on top of it.
Yeah.
And I'm just so mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like rageful. Like there's nowhere to point it. Like you can't even, like sometimes my angry parts are satisfied by me like closing my eyes and imagining some acting out of their anger against whatever they're angry at. But it's just like this faceless bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Clearly this is where it needs to be today. Because all that other stuff was just like me talking, and there's a whole bunch of feelers. So I guess this is probably a good place to stay for the moment.
Okay. It's your call. All the parts are welcome.
I know. Yeah, there's like this. It just feels like really. I know that the anger is on top of and in front of just like helplessness and powerlessness. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you do want to stay with these parts now?
For now, yeah. Like it's bringing up the most feelings.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Start with those feelings in your body.
Yeah. As is often the case, all the angry feelings are like towards the front, like projected out towards the front of my body, like front of my throat and my chest and jaw and this and all that whole neighborhood. There's like a tightening of my belly.
How are you feeling towards it?
I don't know that I can feel towards it yet because it's like it feels so like right on,
Yeah,
like
it's a little too close right now.
So it's hard to get distance.
Okay. Well, you can let it know how you're experiencing it. You're experiencing it as very close and that it's hard to get distance. And you can just ask it.
Yeah, it's almost as though it has its hands wrapped around my throat, but not in like a menacing way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that could be construed, but it's just like it's trying so hard to.
Yeah. Yeah. You just see if you can ask it for space. Let it know you'd like to get to know it.
Yeah, I can see her a little bit now. So it feels like there's a little bit of space, but
all right. Just thank her for that. Giving a little bit of space, showing her more of herself to you.
okay.
What do you see about her?
Well, what I was seeing is like, yeah, she's just crying and kind of frantic and it's like, there's no way to believe that there is a solution or anything to be done.
Mm-hmm.
She's just really mad.
Yeah.
But it's like really, I have a tough time not like just diving right back into her. Like,
yeah. And
when I get a little bit of distance, it's like, I still agree even when she's, and I don't know.
Yeah. Well, she might be right about everything that she's seeing.
Yeah.
And I think when she's blending with you, in a way that's kind of her diving into you, could be one way to think about it. And you can just ask her not to. let her know that we want to learn about her.
Yeah. I think if we're just like, because where we were was like standing across from each other and there's nothing between us. And I feel like when you were speaking just now, I was like, we need a table.
Yeah. Yeah. Pull up a seat.
We need something to be half between us so we're not just both like, oh. Yeah, we need a table.
Yeah. Put a couple drinks between you.
Don't tempt us. Okay.
Just let her know that we have time to learn about her. And we really want to understand her.
She seems to be like, what is the point? Her feeling seems to be like, what is the point if the thing that she has a problem with is something big and huge and not in here?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, what are you going to fucking do? Like.
Great question. Yeah, I appreciate that question.
I had a feeling you might, based on some of our other conversations. Yeah.
Do you have a response, or do you want to hear mine?
Yeah.
Which
I don't
one?
have one.
The
second one.
Yeah. Well, my short answer is I don't know.
Yeah.
And I know that can be, it might feel frustrating, but
yeah. She seems to actually appreciate the acknowledgement that you don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, but what I do know is that it's serious. That she's serious. The problem is serious. And that I have time and energy and curiosity to talk to her about it.
Yeah. Okay.
The effect on your system and on other people's systems is really serious.
Yeah.
How's your table doing?
It's fine. Yeah. It's still there.
How do you feel towards her?
Towards her?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the word that wants to come, and there's a part of me that wants to substitute one of the self words of like, no, you're this, you're that. But it's like respectful is the word that's coming.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just show her that.
Yeah. It's hard for me to tell right now. And sometimes, but with this one so far, it's like, where's the tipping point into blending? Like,
yeah.
How like, fuck yeah, can you be?
How fuck yeah in agreement with a part can you be?
Yeah. Or like, I know that it's okay to agree. It's just like, I don't know where at this moment, in this session, I'm having trouble knowing where the line is as far as like, just being in agreement and empathizing and then like being blended. I mean, I know that I know it's better when I can actually see the part in front of me.
Yes.
And I can see her. But it's like, like two after work coworker is bitching about stuff, like I don't know.
Yep. The bitching is welcome. Some ways to know the degree of blendedness, and it is a matter of degrees, right? So it's not on off. So there's the physical sensations, the throat, chest, jaw, those things. You can keep checking in on those. And then of course there are our lovely 8 C's and whatever other words we want to add to that list.
Yeah, as soon as you said the physical part, it was like she pulled back from that because I didn't realize it was getting
tense. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, I hate to just jump to conclusions here, but you might check with her, like, this might be one of the answers to her question of what's the point, is just noticing the different physical sensations that come up when you're unblended. We still haven't solved the world's healthcare problems, but you know.
Yeah. What came up when you said that is interesting to me. And she's like, well, if I pull it out of you, then I have to hold all of it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I really get that.
So, like, at least if she kind of takes me over.
Mm-hmm. Then it's shared. It feels like it's shared.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which makes sense and doesn't make sense.
It makes a lot of sense to me.
It does. And it absolutely does. But it's like a mind fuck, as many things are in here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. She's like, well, then, good for you that you don't have to have all those physical sensations. But I still exist. And now I'm separate from you.
Yeah. Yeah. We want her to keep existing. And we want the separation not to be a greater burden for her, but a reduced burden is the goal. And so by seeing her and by getting space from her and by learning about her, you can let her know that you might be able to help her relax. And maybe both of you don't necessarily have to feel, discomfort. Now, again, there might still be a lot to be angry about, and I don't want to say that's a bad thing. But just thinking about kind of the context that we're in when we're meeting with parts, and how you'd like to set that up with her in a way that works for both of you. Because if she's got her hands around your throat, it's hard to negotiate from that place, and hard to help.
Yeah. Sometimes because things happen quickly in here, it's like while you're speaking, the scene is responding. And what came to me during some of what you were saying was like, well, what if just while it's just she and I, and we're in this room, this table, I thought, well, what if she could set down part of it or put it outside of her? And then all of a sudden it was like she was holding this huge metal ball, and she just set it on the floor.
How's that feel?
She's just looking at it ooh, yeah. But she seems to want me to know, well, we can't leave it here. It's nice for her and for me, for us to be able to just be beside it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's like, what are we going to do? Just leave it here?
Love the questions.
She doesn't seem to think that's a good idea. She's like, what, are we just going to stop caring? Or
So she has a concern about stopping caring.
Yeah.
She's been carrying a heavy weight for a long time, and she doesn't want for us to come in and just say, poof.
Yeah, she's like,
don't do that anymore.
Well, yeah, it's almost like being liberated from it is somehow wrong, or
she's been carrying it because it's really important, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just let her know we're getting that.
Yeah.
And thank her for, she's done a lot in this conversation already. She's made a lot of compromises and shown you a lot.
Yeah.
And just like I wouldn't, suggest trying to get rid of parts, I wouldn't necessarily, think that we want to get rid of parts, tools, or, we want to help them relax. If it's a burden and she wants to let it go, we might, again, that's a negotiation. That's between you and her. So,
it is a burden. And she's like, it is a burden and we can't let it go. Like,
okay.
That's the current, and, current feeling is like, yes, it's a burden. No, we can't let it go. And there it is. She's like just pointing at, it's like this big.
All right. It must be important.
Yeah.
And it must be something for us to learn about that.
Yeah.
How are you feeling towards her?
I like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like that she cares about this thing? Or just that she cares? Yeah, just show her that. So I have another question if you want to hear it, or if you have your own, go for it.
Yeah, no, bring it on.
You want to hear mine?
Yeah.
Okay. So it would be about learning about the importance of her job. Why is it important? Help us understand.
Well, she's like fully she's like fully kind of aware and acknowledging that the anger and the like, just the absolute frustration of like, it shouldn't be this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an easier place, even though it's not an easy place to be. It's an easier place to be than just like, just being powerless and impotent.
Yes. Yes. So just so I'm...
No, it's still that. Like, being angry at something that you can't like point your anger at it. It's like faceless and gigantic. But it's like better to be mad.
Yeah. Than to feel powerless.
Yeah, be powerless and not mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Like, yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
I know those feelings, rage and powerlessness and hopelessness and despair. And yeah. Which one's easier to, or which ones my parts have preferred for my system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's the hopelessness and the powerlessness about the thing that she gets riled up by. But there's also like the hopelessness and the powerlessness about the hopelessness and the powerlessness.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So she would rather like entertain herself with anger, even though it's very frustrating to just like bitch about this big, huge, faceless machine of bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense to you?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
keeps those feelings of powerlessness away with the entertainment of the anger, the stimulation of the anger.
Yeah. Not really, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't keep them away. They're right there.
Yeah.
She and I are both fully fucking aware
Mm-hmm.
the powerlessness.
I was just thinking about the bitch, about
like the layer on top of them.
The bitching coworkers. and I was thinking, I bet it's a lot easier just on average to like have an angry conversation with a coworker than it is to have a let's talk about how powerless we both feel conversation. So so in that way I see how it can be connecting.
Yeah. That's a good one. It was what came to me while you were starting to say that was like, it's more fun to bitch to your coworker than it is to just like chew on it inside your own, you know what I mean? Just like bitch to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's much better to bitch than to cry.
Yeah.
Not that I avoid crying because I'm, me, but.
Yeah. Well, I think in recognizing that, we're also just recognizing that it's not just you, right? It's not just you and your system who like prefers not to cry. Like, it's a cultural message and a cultural burden as well.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I work against that burden, like professionally and personally. But I still, it's the soup. It's the soup that I swim in.
Yep. We're all in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why sometimes you need another human to,
Mm-hmm.
to help do the work.
Yeah. Is there more that this part wants us to know about her role or the heavy metal ball? Or does she feel like you're getting it?
It's very heavy. That's what she wants me to know, pretty much. Like, ooh, it's fucking heavy. And I feel like she's, like a lot of my parts are kind of hip to the game these days, and I feel like she's aware that, that there can be work that is done that's about, not this bigger faceless enemy, but, from my own life and history and whatnot. But she's just like, you do realize, like, it's not going to make that ball go away. So I'm just kind of like posing the notion that maybe it would make the ball smaller.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We could also ask about kind of the origin of the ball and if it ever was smaller or if it ever wasn't there, and we could come at it from that way too.
Well, one of her feelings about that question is just like, if there was a time when the ball wasn't there, then it's because we didn't know about the world and the bullshit. At least in regards to that, topic that brought us into this room. She's like, if there was a time when the ball wasn't there, it's because we weren't, wise enough to,
So she's seeing that
everybody has to carry one.
Yeah, so that's a part of knowledge and wisdom is carrying the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. The alternative is to just be naive and...
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, I mean, when you're a little kid, you're not like, the healthcare system is fucked up, But there are other ways to feel powerless that, but yeah, the knowledge of the suffering of the world is, you can't not carry that.
Yeah, I get that. I also see the some nobility, some courage in that, in choosing, because it's there's still some choice of, right, like what we choose to take in and what we choose to carry.
Yeah, like sometimes I avoid the news and stuff because I don't want to, make the ball
grow, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then what happens? What's the reaction then if you avoid the news?
Well, she's like, whew, I don't know. There's parts that judge that.
Right.
Parts that are relieved, and, it's a mixture of things.
And others that say, wait, this is the opposite of knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
right.
and that you're, just being a privileged asshole. In some way, if you can just be like, well, I don't want to know what happened in Gaza today.
That's privileged assholery.
It can't. Well, from certain perspectives, it is.
Yeah.
Because the people in Gaza have to know.
Yeah.
For the rest of their lives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag.
It certainly is.
Yeah, it makes sense. It fucking makes sense.
And okay. And so if she wasn't consuming that, let's say, then someone's judgment or some parts are coming up about, saying that that's privileged, and then you're dealing with those feelings of feeling like you're being an asshole, you're being privileged.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying that I don't still avoid it some days, but there's something on the back burner that's like, that says it's like your responsibility to know.
Yeah, to be informed.
And even if you do avoid it, one of your friends will get cancer, and then you won't be able to get away from that.
Right. It'll come to your door eventually.
Yeah, you'll have to watch them suffer.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm wondering about her feelings about that, because so far we've kind of talked about what seems like this kind of anger and knowledge. And I'm wondering if she, how she feels about what you just touched on about, learning about your friend's cancer, for example.
She feels like I said earlier, she's like self-aware to a degree. She's like, yes, oh shit, I lost it. I lost what it was that I got from her. Yeah, she's aware to some degree that that there's a lot more to it than the surface emotions. Like I said earlier, it's like anger is an easier place to hang out.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Like just this blanket frustration, annoyance, and anger about, like I said earlier, this big, faceless opponent.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what does she think about the possibility of you working with and visiting the powerless parts? And does she see that as a way that might help her relax? Is she interested in that?
She's very calm now, which is nice. She just keeps, like she's like, she's okay with the idea that, that we can get in there and heal some stuff from my own personal life.
Right.
And help those powerless parts about that. Mm-hmm. But she's also like, that is not going to change the fact that often, if not always, there is still going to be powerlessness in regards to a whole bunch of shit that you can't do a goddamn thing about.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think she's probably right.
Damn it. Yeah. Yeah.
And at the beginning of our conversation, you were kind of feeling powerless with her. Like she had this total power over you, with her hands around your throat.
Yeah.
And you're experiencing the internal change and the knowledge and the respect of her and the things she cares about. And so it has changed to a degree. It sounds like the powerlessness that you were experiencing with her. But I do agree that if there are things that you are truly powerless about in this universe, you may remain powerless about them. And I don't want to just jump over that, because if that's,
she probably wouldn't let you. But
yeah.
It's just like, just as long as we're all acknowledging that,
Mm-hmm. Does she feel like you're acknowledging that?
Let me catch her eye. It's kind of crazy sometimes when you like really can like make deep eye contact with a part. It's I don't know if you've ever done that or if
I have.
It's kind of trippy.
Yeah, she's seeing you.
Yeah, we're seeing each other.
Uh-huh. How does it feel?
A bunch of ways. Like, it feels good. It feels sad. It feels
that's right. Good
beautiful. It feels,
yes.
all kinds of ways. It feels trippy. It feels, like rabbit hole-ish or something.
Does it feel kind of like grief, a grieving process?
Maybe, a little bit. Or an acknowledgement of, something. I'm seeing this interesting, kind of funny thing with the ball. It's like I'm seeing a few things where she's like, like, even though we both acknowledge that we're fucking powerless over many, many things in the world outside, and like she'll put some like little thing across the room that represents something that we're powerless about, and then just like bowling, almost like bowl the ball over it, like woohoo. Even though it's somewhat a hollow victory, it is also just a tiny bit satisfying just to be like, well, let's make this funny, for a moment.
Yeah. Hey, there's another side, another solution. There's entertainment with rage and there's entertainment with humor.
Yeah. Like, like you bowl a strike and then you give each other a high five and you're like, fucking bullshit. All of this.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah. So self-presence has brought some creativity and playfulness.
A little bit of levity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is bullshit.
It is bullshit. I bet if you two continue spending that time together, your creativity and playfulness and courage could continue kind of working together, and who knows what else you could create and change, in the world.
I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't think she needs me to stay with her in this moment.
Okay.
But yeah, I will be back here. And yeah, that was an interesting exchange.
Definitely. So I have time if you would like to go further.
Yeah. I have time.
Okay. Do you know where we're going?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I have been like in listening back to some of our sessions. I know there is exile stuff around powerlessness and choicelessness and all of that, but I don't have a strong like, this is where we go to get that or how we get to that character at the moment.
I wonder if the angry part could help point you.
Yeah, that stuff all like, and I mean, I wonder sometimes if there's not a part that makes it hard. Of course there is. Of course there are parts that make it hard to get to that stuff besides this one.
Uh-huh. Yep. Do you know who they are? Do you detect any of them? Who's making it hard?
There's like figuring it out part, like, psychoanalyzer figure outer part that's like, let me get in there and like, start flipping through the file cabinet, let me put something together about powerlessness or
yeah, it's gonna check the references.
Yeah, trying to make dot connections. It's like, there's a definite difference. I can just feel sometimes this like, let's try to find something that matches this feeling, as opposed to just like an openness in it kind of arising, if that makes sense.
When you say try to find something that matches the feeling, that feels like the file cabinet, like let's look for...
Yeah, there's a tryingness that I can feel where it's like, all right, well, it's like Sherlock Holmes looking for the memories of powerlessness, or like it's like, I don't know how to describe it any more than I have, but there's a tryingness that comes in, and I'm like, oh, we're trying, like we're making up a thing, not making up, but like trying to draw correlations. So there's that.
Okay. Acknowledge it, welcome it. All parts are welcome.
And it's not happening right now, but I've heard in some of our other sessions where like I'll give some kind of voice to a powerless feeling, and then there's like the de-escalator.
Yes.
Where it's like, I'll say, I don't know, I can't think of an actual example, but there's times where I'll say something that sounds, kind of dark, and then it's like, well, not like blah blah blah, but just like a little bit less than that. I'm not getting a good example of it in my mind right now, but it's like
it takes the edge off.
Yeah, it's like, it's the part that's like, well, we don't want people to think that this is how we feel. That's so pathetic, or, whatever. So the de-escalation of like the way that things are stated.
Yep.
That's what I'm aware of at this moment. Like that kind of like little goalkeepers. They were like less strong than some of the other protective parts, but because they don't show up with like this, extreme strength, they're also harder to detect.
Right. They're not getting
sneakier. Yeah.
Okay. Well, even if they're not, like you said, they don't feel like they're really up right now, and yet they are the parts that sometimes seem to be working in the background. So just acknowledge that they're there, that they're part of you.
Yeah. And there's this is another part that falls in the category of like always asking to step back, as but never have a conversation, is the your childhood was not a bad one part.
Right.
Like your mom was not bad, your childhood was not bad, the stuff that happened to you was not that bad. That part is, anytime that we're circling around something that feels like poignant and painful, it's like, whoa, like on.
Yep.
Other people's childhood comparing part, or family, family reputation protecting part.
I get it.
Yeah.
There's figure it out part. There's a de-escalator, and there's the not so bad childhood parts. Yeah.
Yeah. And those last two are kind of similar to each other, but the de-escalator one it's more like, when I've stated something and it's like, like,
How do you feel towards them?
It's like a feelings disowner is what it is.
How do you feel towards them?
I mean, at the moment, I feel like they're very comical. There is also, a frustration there.
Can I pause you for just a second? Can I pause you? Okay.
Yeah.
When you said comical, it just kind of rang a bell for me about how the rageful part also mentioned like entertainment, the entertainment value of its job.
Yeah.
Right. I wonder if these have a kind of a similar. It's distractingly entertaining in a way, right? To engage with them versus exile feelings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
I got them too.
Right. I think I get what you're saying. But that doesn't make it easier to get like around them, like to at this moment to access some feeling of. And okay, there's another part that comes in that's like when there is stuff that comes up around something that I feel like I've really done some good solid work on. It's like, but that's done, like,
right.
Yeah. Because there are times that I, have felt somewhat powerless or that I have really done solid work on. And when I revisit that moment, it's like there's an awareness that I felt powerless, but it's not there anymore. It's not like, but that might just be some part that's offering that to distract me from something that I, haven't done work on.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm. All I get around this like powerlessness thing is just this vague notion of being a kid, like someone else tells you what you can and can't do. And they tell you if your feelings are acceptable or not. They tell you if you are acceptable or not. And there's also like it's like, I don't know the word to say, but like a fear because it's hard to know what is and isn't going to be acceptable to the people who are in charge and who get to decide that.
Can I just repeat that back so I'm sure that I'm hearing it?
Yeah.
The sense of being a kid, which is someone else tells you what you can and can't do.
Yeah.
They tell you if your feelings are acceptable or not. They tell you if you are acceptable or not.
Yeah. it's like there's a piece to it. It's like it's not only that they get to tell you what you can and can't do, but like their opinion of whether it was even okay that you wanted to do or not do is like even more sort of intimidating than like getting to do or not do. It's like,
Right.
is it even okay that you, yeah, it's like, yeah, like you said, or like I said, and then you said, they decide if you're okay or not, if who you are is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's this not knowing. It's this like fear of like outwardly being, because you don't really like know the rules, like what is and is not until you find out. Like,
Yeah. Okay. Are you getting a?
yeah, there's like it's hard to put words on. It's just like this.
I think you've put plenty.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if you're feeling closer, and you started with this, you said it's kind of a vague sense of a kid, and I'm wondering if you're seeing it apart more clearly.
A little bit, I think. I mean, when I said those words,
Mm-hmm.
I can see a kid.
Okay.
It's not a specific memory, but it's
Okay.
like I can see the tension in the body of the child.
Yes.
Like the kind of frozenness
Mm-hmm.
of the fear of being herself outwardly.
Yes. How do you feel towards her?
Yeah. I feel sad for her.
Can you show her?
She's like kind of shrinky, like she's kind of scared of me too.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
let her know that she doesn't have to do anything. She doesn't have to respond, and that you can keep whatever distance feels right for you two.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of just like muscular tension of fear of opening, fear of like flowing or being free because she doesn't know what's okay.
Mm-hmm. Does the distance feel right for the two of you?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
You mean whatever distance we're at this moment?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just let her know we really want to respect her feelings, any concerns that she has.
I feel like, I don't know if she understands like what's happening.
She may not. Can you just do a quick protector check for those handful that you mentioned before? Are they all okay with you going here?
I think so.
Okay.
As far as I can feel.
Okay. You want to just show her more of yourself?
Yeah, I just kind of like got down on her level.
Uh-huh.
And I just said like, I'm just here to like help you feel less tense. Yeah, it's almost like she's not like a statue, but she's like a, flesh, but just so cautious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to help you be less tense. And she's like, I don't know if that's okay. But
yeah, I'm curious about that message. I'm curious where that is coming from, because I think that when self is here for a part, it's for a world of reasons, and it's offering a world of possibilities.
Yeah, that's a good notice. It's almost like maybe there's almost too much. Maybe it's caretakery.
Sounds kind of agenda-y to me.
Yeah. It's like, which it does make sense, because if you can see her, it's, of course you want that, but
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not saying it's okay that you're exactly like you are right now in this very moment.
Yeah. So ask that part for space.
And I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to talk to you one day while I'm at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Caretaker part, whatever.
I'll put it in my bookmarks.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I feel like those parts need a hug. It's not just like, could you step back?
Definitely.
Like, hey, thank you. Let me give you a hug.
Definitely.
It's so, so sweet of you to get in there and want to help in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. It's better now.
Yes.
More like fascinated than, intervening.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And how's she feeling about the safety of your presence?
She's still she's frozen in this funny position, but she's like looking at me side eye, like kind of, I don't know, a little more playful, but like her body isn't moving at all, but she's like kind of giving me this side, kind of almost mischievous, like sneaky almost, but not like she's trying to be, not like she's trying to hide from me, just like playful, sneaky sort of.
Okay.
Almost like, she's kind of looking at me like, I don't know how to put it, but like she could move at any moment, and she's just like kind of playing with my attention about it.
Yeah.
Like, how long will I stay like this?
Can you let her know that?
I'm sorry, I keep
it's okay.
bumping into you.
It's okay.
It doesn't look anymore as though she doesn't have a choice. Like before, it was like her body, she couldn't move. She was too afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like she's playing.
What I was going to suggest is that you let her know that she can show you all of the sides of her.
Yeah.
Because what got you here were feelings that were not playful feeling.
No, they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm kind of sticking on that a little is again kind of going back to what we were noticing before about protective parts that had that kind of entertainment-ish agenda.
Yeah.
And so I could be wrong about that. Maybe it's not relevant, but I just want to look out for that she doesn't feel the need to
rush
entertain, to be playful.
Yeah.
Like she can be however she wants to be. And I hope that also includes all the sides of her, including the painful ones and the not, whatever else.
Yeah. I think I think that's good guidance. And I do think that, like the playfulness is her.
Sure, absolutely.
But, it would be not wise to just run with that,
What feels wise to you in this moment with her?
Well, I'm closer now. I'm like on her eye level. She said that her body hurts from all of that tension. I think, the playful moment, she's just kind of showing me that she still has that.
Right.
Even if she has to like, outwardly be cautious, she still can be playful with herself inside.
Mm-hmm.
But like she's tired of, not tired in a weary way, but just like she feels restricted by the tension in her body and by the fear of outward expression.
Mm-hmm. Does she feel like she can show you that and how that's been for her?
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, she just keeps showing me. I'm just asked her, like, if she wanted to help me understand, how her body got to be that way. She'll just kind of keep showing me, like, she'll be about to move or do something or, again, like express outwardly, and she just freeze. Like, oh, it's scary. But she's doing that kind of illustrating to me, I think.
Yes.
She's not freezing because she's scared of me. It's like, this is how it feels. It's like, ooh.
Yeah. And does she feel like you understand what makes that scary for her? The things in her world?
Yeah, there's one of those parts that I mentioned earlier was like, no, just because I was going to say it's her mom and her mom's reactions to her and her mom's like,
Can you just
wait.
him?
Yeah. And that part was like, no.
Yep. No, wasn't that bad?
Well, or just like, even just don't say it. Okay. They're like, just don't say it. Like,
can she just say it to you and you can say it or not to me? It doesn't. And if any parts are concerned about anyone else we share it with, we can just choose to not say it or not share it. But can she say it to you?
Yeah, she's showing me some things, but it's all as it often is with me when they're littler. It's like tiny little clips or yeah, and I just
you wanna just stay with
trying
that?
to be thorough and ask her like, just encouraging her to keep showing me if there's more or yeah, because sometimes it's a little bit more sort of conceptual than it is like, look at this memory or what have you.
Do the clips include her mom?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, just stay with
like,
that.
But it's like she's showing me a different, like how she's showing me not like how it looked in real life, but how she feels like, ooh, I got to freeze here. I can't go there. I can't move that way.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
Her to show you how it feels.
Yeah. She's just like having to be very, yeah, she has to just kind of like watch herself all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. We want to know what that was like for her.
Yeah. And the biggest part of it is that she doesn't know what is and is not going to be upsetting or.
That's right.
Like, that's the part where the real feeling of powerlessness comes in, because if it was all clear, then right. she would know what was okay or where she wouldn't have to be frozen.
Right.
She could just be like, okay, we can't do these things and we can do these things. We can't feel this and we can't feel that.
Feelings that she's showing you about what it was like to have that experience. Just so that you really get it, that she feels like you really get it.
Mm. Yeah, she's like, has to hide herself, basically.
Mm-hmm.
She can't, there's a whole bunch of stuff that she can't feel, not allowed.
Right. Right. She couldn't be herself.
Yeah.
Had to hide herself.
Yeah.
Just let her know that she doesn't have to be that way with you.
Yeah, she seems comfortable with me now. It's like, I'm telling her, you can feel anything you want to feel in front of me. You can be however you want to be. You can move. She seems happier now. I don't know if maybe there's things that she will need to show me later. I often kind of have that question.
Yeah, about like how thorough to be.
Yeah, like with the part, I'm always saying, like, keep showing me until you feel like I've seen everything to see. But I feel like the way that it works with me is sometimes, they get to the point where they're like, that's good enough for now.
Yep. Yep.
Like we were like, I was crouched down and talking to her, and then now I'm holding her like on my hip. And
if she says it's good enough for now, then that's the answer. Just make sure that's coming from her and not other parts.
Yeah, there's no one else here right now. I don't feel the presence of any intervening pieces of anything.
Okay. What's next?
Yeah, just her staying with me. That's what feels like next. Like, all right, you're gonna stay with me now. Like,
Lovely.
Yeah.
She all right with that? She ready to do that?
I just, yeah. I started having a moment of, where I was like, okay, how is she going to let this out of her body? It was like she went like a rag doll, because she was like so tense and frozen and was statue-like, and she just like turned into a little rag doll in my arms. And then I got the feeling I needed to set her down, like let her stand, and she's just shaking it out, making noises and flailing and like shaking and jumping around and being a little hellion.
Yeah, shaking out the feelings of unclear about what's okay, don't know what it's acceptable.
Yeah, not me.
Having to hide herself.
Yeah, because like there's so much tension. There was so much tension there. It was like she was tension at the beginning. And so now she's just like jumping around and like flinging and stuff, like that.
Yep. Feelings of being acceptable.
Yeah. And what I'm kind of conveying to her is just like, just do that until you feel like being a rag doll again.
Yeah, do it till it's all out.
Yeah. She seems to be very cool with the idea that she's allowed to make noise too.
Fuck yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, dude, please.
Language. I don't know how old she is. I didn't catch how old she is or where we are with that.
I've not encountered a part that
all of your parts are cool. Yeah.
It's the ninth C. Yeah. It didn't upset her, let's just say.
Yeah. And do you have an age about her?
I don't know, maybe 3, 4, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Which is, I've worked with parts that are that age before too, but also older. Yeah. Like I feel like a lot of times when I get to an exile, like a child type part, they have a collection of ages.
Okay.
So she's older than that too. But when I first saw her, she was like little, like kindergartner type age. I am the worst at guessing kid ages, by the way, too.
She's whatever age she wants to be, and doesn't have to match any references.
Yeah, she even responded to that. She's like, I can be different ages. Like,
that's right.
I can be 6, I can be 4, I can be 9.
What else does she need from you?
Let me check and make sure that that what I'm seeing is for her and from her. Because she was like all jumping around, and then she like plopped down like onto her back, and I got feeling like I was supposed to do that too. Like I was supposed to. So we're just like Shavasana.
Nice.
And then she seemed to want to hold my hand. I thought she was like, gonna be still and quiet. And then she was like, well, I need to yell a little bit more. So now it's just like, it's random emissions.
It's beautiful.
Which, I mean, that makes a lot of sense because it's like, rule breaking or unexpectedness. Like, oh, it's time to lay down now. Well, I'm going to yell like a little bit more because I can do what I want and be what I want when I want.
That's right.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. And I don't know where we are, but she's like, I think she's ready to leave.
Okay. Yep. She can set up with you whatever environment she wants.
She doesn't seem to want to commit to any particular place. She's like, I want to go where I want. Like, I want to go where I want. There's multiple places that she might want to go.
Have them.
Yeah.
Leave it open.
Right now she seems to want to go to like a fair ride type place. So yeah, I think this will be a good place for us to leave it. And I mean, I'm sure I'll be seeing her.
I think so. Only other thing I would offer is maybe circling back to some of the protectors that you met on the way, particularly the angry one holding the ball.
She is, now that you invoke her, like I turn around and she's standing there holding the ball, but smiling. Yeah, she's like looking at the kid.
Hey, look at that.
Holding the ball and smiling. Because, as we said, the ball is there.
Yep, it's there. It's there.
Unless during this session we've been transported to Utopia and neither of us are aware of it yet. But she's appears to be happy about the kid. And she's still, having to carry the thing.
Right. Yep. The burden of that wisdom and knowledge is still there, but it can be held with a smile.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah.
At least, at least while visiting this carnival.
Well, yeah, you can just let her know that that's something you can continue doing.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Keep me posted.
Okay. I appreciate you and have a fantastic trip.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you.
Okay,
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.